In an age of steel and conquest, when the lands were torn by endless wars, there existed a proud but small kingdom named Arathia. Nestled between towering mountains and vast uncharted forests, it was ruled by the wise and courageous Queen Liana. Though Arathia was a land of peace, it lay in the shadow of a formidable adversary, the Empire of Dracos, led by the ruthless King Morphin. For years, Morphin sought to extend his dominion, and his eyes had long been set upon Arathia's fertile valleys and abundant resources. His armies, numbering in the tens of thousands, had crushed every kingdom in their path. Now his banners darkened the horizon once more, marching toward Arathia, their final obstacle before absolute dominance. The storm of war was upon them. News of the impending invasion spread through Arathia like wildfire. Messengers arrived at the royal court breathless, their faces pale. Morphin's legions were advancing through the Valley of Lions, the only passage through the mountains and the kingdom's last line of defense. Liana knew she had no choice but to make her stand there. Gathering her commanders in the great hall, she spoke with unwavering determination. "We may be outnumbered, but we are not outmatched. We fight not for conquest, but for our home, our families, our very existence. We will show Morphin that Arathia will never kneel." Her words ignited the spirits of her warriors, and preparations for war began. Blacksmiths worked through the night, fortifications were raised, and scouts monitored the enemy's every move. Even the common folk took up arms, ready to defend their homeland. As the sun dipped below the mountains, the Arathian warriors made their final preparations. Fires burned low, casting flickering shadows across sharpened swords and polished shields. Archers coated their arrows with oil, ready to ignite the very sky. In hushed voices, knights whispered prayers to the gods of war. Young squires trembled with fear, while seasoned veterans gazed into the darkness, awaiting the dawn of battle. Queen Liana walked among them, offering words of encouragement. She found Commander Eric, her most trusted knight, sharpening his blade. "Tomorrow we carve our names into history," he said, his eyes burning with resolve. "Tomorrow we carve our names into victory," she corrected, clasping his arm. The night passed slowly, tension thick as the mountain fog. In the distance, the war horns of Dracos echoed through the valley, a grim reminder of what awaited them at sunrise. At first light, the ground trembled under the march of Draco's army. Morphin led from the front, his black armor gleaming in the morning sun. His war horns echoed through the valley, a sound that sent shivers through even the bravest hearts. Behind him, siege towers loomed like dark giants, their massive forms rolling forward with terrifying inevitability. The first wave of Dracos' warriors poured into the valley, their banners flapping in the wind. Liana raised her hand. A piercing whistle cut through the air, and the sky turned black with arrows. The attack had begun. The first volley struck true, felling hundreds in an instant. Before the enemy could react, Arathian catapults unleashed flaming boulders, sending fire crashing into their ranks. Panic spread like wildfire. Horses reared, men stumbled over the bodies of their fallen comrades. Morphin, undeterred, bellowed, "Forward! Crush them beneath our steel!" His elite warriors surged ahead, forcing their way through the valley. The Arathian front line braced for impact, shields locked, spears aimed. The true test of their strength had begun. The air was thick with the scent of blood and burning wood, the clash of steel echoing like thunder through the mountains. The clash was thunderous. Blades rang against armor, screams pierced the morning air. Blood soaked the earth as warriors fought with unrelenting fury. The valley became a storm of steel and fire. Liana fought alongside her soldiers, striking down enemy after enemy. Her sword danced like a serpent, weaving through the chaos, every strike a message that Arathia would not yield. Morphin, watching from a ridge, grinned. He believed that sheer numbers would win the day, but Arathia's warriors refused to break. Just as Morphin believed victory was within his grasp, Commander Eric and his cavalry burst from their hiding place among the cliffs. Their charge was a thing of legend. 300 horsemen against thousands, yet they rode as if the gods themselves had blessed their charge. Swords flashed, hooves thundered, and the rear ranks of Draco's forces crumbled under the assault. Caught between the relentless Arathian defense and the unexpected cavalry ambush, Morphin's army began to falter, but he was not a man to accept defeat easily. He rode forward, cutting down warriors left and right, his eyes fixed on one goal, Queen Liana. Through the chaos, their eyes met. Fate had led them to this moment. Liana, astride her white stallion, drew her sword. Morfen, atop his massive black warhorse, grinned, raising his colossal blade. The battle around them seemed to fade as they clashed. Steel met steel in a whirlwind of strikes and parries. Morfen's strength was monstrous. Each of his blows sent shockwaves through Liana's arms. But she was faster, her movements precise. She ducked, rolled, countered, striking at every opening. Morfen roared in frustration. With a mighty swing, he shattered her shield, forcing her onto the ground. He raised his sword for the final blow. But Liana, with a warrior's instinct, rolled aside, grabbing a fallen spear. With all her might, she drove it into his chest. Morfen's eyes widened in shock. He gasped, stumbled, then collapsed. The tyrant was dead. With their king slain, the remaining Draco's forces fled, their once mighty army reduced to broken, scattered remnants. Arathia had won, but the price of victory was heavy. Many of their bravest lay slain on the battlefield. The valley was now a graveyard, a testament to their sacrifice. As the sun set, Queen Liana stood atop the valley, gazing upon the land she had fought so fiercely to protect. Her people, bloodied but unbowed, raised their banners high. Arathia had survived. From that day forward, the Valley of Lions became sacred ground, a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and unbreakable will. And the legend of Queen Liana, the warrior queen who defied an empire, was etched into history forever. For in that valley, against all odds, a queen became immortal.